Ever heard that saying, best way to win an argument, avoid having it in the first place?
Classic.
Sounds simple, right? But it's actually a core idea from this, legendary self-help book.
Oh yeah, Dale Carnegie, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's the one. And that's what we're diving into today, seeing what still holds up.
Which is interesting because Carnegie himself, he was quite the, I guess you'd say, hothead back in the day.
Wait, really? The guy who wrote the book on being likable was a handful himself.
Oh, for sure, for a while there. Taught debating, even considered a whole book on how to win arguments. Can you imagine?
So what changed? How'd he go from debate champ to, the king of smooth relationships?
It's actually kind of a classic self-improvement story. See, he was already successful teaching public speaking, but his students, they wanted more than just how to give a good speech.
Makes sense, right? Public speaking is one thing, but actually dealing with people day to day, that's different.
Exactly. They wanted that connection piece. And Carnegie, to his credit, he got curious, wanted to find out what really made people tick.
So instead of just theorizing, he went straight to the source, the OGs of getting things done.
Totally. Dove headfirst into biographies, all these big names. Julius Caesar, for one, really dug into how they handled people, the relationships, the whole deal.
Was he picky or just any biography?
Get this, over 100 on Teddy Roosevelt alone. That was his level.
Wow, talk about dedication. This wasn't just a weekend project for him.
Nope, this was serious research. He knew this stuff, this connection stuff. It lasts, goes beyond any one time period.
So any big aha moments from all that reading? Or did it take something else?
Oh, he definitely had one. And it came from, well, kind of getting put in his place, honestly.
Ooh, juicy. Tell me more.
So picture this. Dinner party, right? Carnegie, always wanting to be precise, corrects some guy about a Shakespeare quote.
I've been there. You think you're dropping knowledge, then bam, someone calls you out.
Right. But here's where it gets good. Instead of just feeling smug about being right later on, a friend gives him some advice that really stuck.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What'd the friend say?
Always avoid the acute angle.
Acute angle? Sounds more like geometry class than life advice.
Right. But think about it. 2 lines, sharp angle, creates that tension, that clash. His friend was saying, ease up, approach things smoother, you'll damage less along the way.
So even if you're technically right in an argument, you might be messing up the bigger picture.
100%. And that actually becomes Carnegie's big principle number 1. You can't win an argument. Even if your logic is perfect, you might make someone resent you for it. Not exactly a recipe for friendship.
It's like that saying, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? Sometimes a little harmony is worth more than being correct.
Exactly.
But how do you actually do that? Especially in the heat of the moment, right? When emotions are running high, it's tough to just flip a switch.
Oh, for sure. And that's where Carnegie's insights get really good.
Yeah.
He gives you a game plan for handling those situations without, turning it into a shouting match.
Okay, I am so ready for this game plan. Give me some of those Carnegie navigation tips. How do we approach these conversations without it blowing up in our faces? Okay, so how do we actually avoid those arguments, those clashes? Does Carnegie give us anything specific, or is it all just be nice?
Oh, no, he gets into the nuts and bolts for sure.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to, really getting the other person.
Okay, yeah, empathy, right.
More than that, even. He says, don't treat it like a fight you got to win. It's about seeing it through their eyes, even if you don't agree with what you see.
Easier said than done, right? Especially when you feel super strongly that you're in the right.
Oh, tell me about it. Takes effort, to consciously switch gears. Carney's got this great analogy, though. He compares it to, trying to jam a square peg into a round hole.
Ouch, yeah, been there, done that, metaphorically speaking. So we need to find the right shape for our approach, depending on the person.
Bingo. It's about common ground, not forcing your way in. And get this, that whole idea goes way beyond just arguments. He says it's the key to getting people to do anything. Principle number 2, right here.
Let's hear it.
To get someone to do something, show them how it helps them.
Not what we want, but what's in it for them.
Exactly. And he tells this great story about, of all people, Ralph Waldo Emerson, the essayist. Super smart guy.
Yeah, vaguely.
Point being.
So Emerson and his son, they're trying to wrangle a calf into the barn. Pushing, pulling, no luck.
Stubborn calf. I can relate.
Right. So the housemaid, she sees them struggling. And instead of muscle, she figures out, what does this calf want? Turns out, to suck on her finger, kind of silly.
But it worked. Like a charm. She leads the calf right into the barn. Point is, it wasn't logic. It was understanding.
Okay, cute story, but I can already hear people saying, yeah, that's a calf, not my boss.
Mm.
How's this work in, like, the real world?
And that is where Carnegie shines. He gives you the applications. Like, imagine you're trying to get your team to use this new software.
Uh-huh. Been there. Harder than it sounds.
Right. Instead of you, the manager, being all, this software is great, it has these features, you focus on them. How will it make their work easier, save them time, their individual wins?
So it's almost like sales, but for your own team. You're selling them on the benefit to them, not just the overall good.
Exactly. Figure out their needs, their wants, then frame it right. It's not manipulation, it's finding that win-win. Carnegie was big on that.
Okay, so we've got avoiding the fight, we've got understanding the other side. Anything else we need for this whole influential relationships thing?
One word. Appreciation. But not just any kind. Carnegie's picky about this. It's got to be genuine, not that fake flattery stuff.
Okay, appreciation, not flattery. Man, that feels extra relevant these days. I mean, we're drowning in fake praise online, but the real deal is hard to find.
Totally. And Carnegie was all about that realness. He said it's got to be sincere, not just some generic compliment, but something specific, something you actually mean about them.
So not just love your work,
Oh,
but
yeah.
noticing the actual work, the effort.
Exactly. He tells this story, right, about this guy in his program. Wife always asks for his honest opinion, even criticism, which, brave lady, right?
Bold move. So what'd he do?
Instead of critiquing, he sends her 6 red roses with a note. Says, can't think of 6 things I'd change about you. Love you as you are.
Okay, now that is how it's done. Talk about a power move, but like the good kind of power move.
Right. And it wasn't just the wife. Other women in the program heard about it. They were floored. Shows you, a little positivity goes a long way.
Makes you think, what if we all did that more? Appreciate what we've got instead of always trying to fix people.
Big takeaway, for sure. And it kind of leads into another thing Carnegie was hugely on. Listening, like really listening.
Oh, man. In this day and age, that's almost a lost art. Everyone's waiting for their turn to talk,
He's got a funny story about that. Goes to this dinner party, ends up talking to this botanist, right? Afterwards, the guy can't stop telling everyone what an amazing conversationalist Carnegie is.
No way. What'd he say? Did he have some killer opening line?
Turns out, Carnegie barely said a word. Just listened. Asked a few good questions here and there.
So the secret to being interesting is being interested. I kind of love that.
Right. Gave the guy his full attention, let him ramble on about his passion, and bam, instant connection. People crave that.
It's true. We all want to feel heard. Makes you wonder what we miss when we're too busy thinking of our next point,
Totally. And for Carnegie, that good listening, it went hand in hand with empathy, really trying to walk in the other person's shoes. He even made it a principle number 9. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view.
Which is so tough, right? Especially when someone's coming at you with all guns blazing.
He says even then, there's usually a reason behind it. Instead of getting defensive, trying to win, figure out what that reason is. He gives this example, employee dealing with a furious customer.
Oh, rough day at work.
Instead of arguing, making excuses, the employee says, look, I don't blame you for feeling this way. If I were you, I'd be mad too.
Whoa. Talk about disarming the situation. You'd almost have to stop yelling after that, right?
Right. It's that instant empathy. You're not a problem to be solved. You're a human being having a feeling.
It's like the whole point of Carnegie when you get down to it, isn't it? Put people first. Be curious, be kind, be interested. That's what builds the real connections, not some manipulative trick.
Nailed it. The book's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. But it's not about using people. It's about respecting them. That's what lasts.
So as we wrap this up, I'm thinking, even today, with all the tech and everything moving so fast, that human stuff, that matters more than ever.
100%. And the cool thing is, Carnegie gives you the tools, the actual steps to make it happen, no matter who you are.
So wherever you are, whoever you're dealing with, try a little Carnegie this week. A little more curiosity, a little more understanding, maybe even a few red roses. Who knows what could happen?
You never know. You might just win some friends and influence some people along the way.